Contrary to popular belief, I am not the Pinterest mom with the color-coded closet. I am a type B mom. Today we're going to talk about type A moms or type B moms. We read the books, we bought the things. We thought we were ready. And then life took our plans and changed them. I'm Karen, I'm Victoria's mommy, and I work in tech.
And I'm Pamela. I have a baby boy named Ford, and I'm a journalist. And although we're both first-time working moms, we're actually pretty different.
And that's totally okay. Because we both agree that our most important work is raising our kids. We really need each other and can only get through this together. Welcome to Motherish Moments. Okay, I'm really excited about this episode, Pam. I don't know how you feel.
This was Karen's idea. I'm here for it because anything that leads me to learning more about her, learning more about myself, and learning more about other moms, I'm excited for it. I do think Karen's a little bit in denial. Oh, maybe she's become a type B mom.
That's part of my...
Yes.
Don't spoil the episode.
But
not gonna lie, your intro kind of surprised me.
Yes. And we have a guest today. We have a guest.
Yes, we're super excited. So today we have Meesh joining us. I know Meesh from a personal level. She's a friend of mine, a friend that I have gone to Missy Elliott concert with and Trina concert with, a friend that I have also DM'd with quite a bit. She is a social media strategist, founder of Cafecito, consultant to brands, and just like a really fun fellow mom that you can follow online. But let's first jump into our motherish moment. Are you ready, Pam? I have mine. I'm going for it.
Go ahead.
So on Mother's Day, I went to the mall with Victoria, and I had the funniest moment ever. So, I mean, it was funny to me. I'm her mom, whatever. It doesn't matter. So we're walking in front of Victoria's Secret of the store, and she looks and she goes, she sees her name and the whole store is pink. And I have the reaction on video, and like I feel like it's the type of thing that if I posted on TikTok or something, it would like go viral, because she literally like gripped, it's almost like she grasped her pearls, like she grabbed her sweater and pulled it close to her neck and was like, oh, Mom, is that mine? And I was like, oh my God, I never thought about this. So she's like, wow. I go, yeah, Mama, it's like your store. And she's like, wow. And it's all pink. And I'm like, yeah. And it was just so cool because like I never connected Victoria's Secret with my child, you know, two very foreign thoughts together. But she was just so mind blown by this, and she just like was looking at it in awe, and I found it to be so random and so funny. Things that would never happen to me because nothing is ever named Karen, but like imagine Karen's Secret.
So when Ford sees the Ford, like
oh
the
my
logo.
God, right? Because he also has
yes,
it. This is crazy.
He's seen it on T-shirts and like places, but he's actually never connected that it's a car. Oh. He doesn't know it's a car yet.
Yeah. You gotta get him there. You gotta buy him a Ford car. Buy yourself a Ford.
Well, I think his dad had a Ford at some point.
Okay.
But he was little. I don't think he wasn't reading or knew his name yet. So.
Okay. Your motherish moment?
So my motherish moment is school's almost over by the time we're recording this, which is crazy. It's insane. But every morning, Ford does this very intense negotiating like tactic where he's like, Mom, can you please let me skip school? And then he does this thing with his hand. He goes, just this one time. That's it. I promise you. One time. That's it. And I'm like, I always blame the dad. I'm like, Dad's not going to let me. He's skip school.
She said no.
I know. It's so bad. I know, because I don't want to be like the uncool mom, you know? Like, it's because it sounds so easy. I'm always so tempted to be like, sure, baby, just one time. But I'm like, no, I'm like sticking to it. He only has a few more days left. I think like a week.
I know. I was just
at
like,
this point. So then I FaceTime the dad. I'm like, Dad, right? We can't skip school today. He's like, no, we can't. But what I do like about Ford is like he's a very good negotiator. Like he does like the begging and like the little acting and like, oh my God, Mama, please, I promise you, please, just one time. That's it, just one time. I'm like, you've told me that before. I've heard this before. This one time is never like.
It's never once.
A one time.
No.
So we're not skipping school, but it's cute to watch him like.
She's like, that's
try
cute.
to convince
that's
me.
Cute. Good luck.
You know, that's my motherish moment.
Meesh, you want to share your motherish moment with us?
Oh my goodness.
So share the context of your children. You have 2 boys.
Yes, I have 2 boys, Abe and Ben. And it's funny you mentioned that Abe is going to be 10 next Wednesday. I'm going to be a decade into this mom game.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. And Ben is the reason I'm not having a 3rd child. He's my 2nd child. You know, Abe tricked me into thinking I knew what I was doing.
Abe is literally the most polite, sweetest boy I have ever met in my life. Like, when I tell you that boy is like, hi, how are you? It's so nice to see you. And you're just like, I'm sorry.
And then you meet Ben, who at baseball last week was like, can I go now? Like, in the line.
How old is Ben?
Ben is 5. He's a Libra. Abe is a Gemini.
like,
Yeah, I totally saw their astrological signs. So Abe and Ben, well, it's funny you mentioned because I have that same negotiation with both kids. But now what I'm going with them is Abe will tell me, can you pick up Ben later? Like I pick up Abe at 3, I pick up Ben after, and Abe will tell me like, can you not get Ben right now? And then I guess Ben caught on because this week he's like, I want to get picked up first.
But is it because Abe wants like more quality time?
He wants not to be around Ben. He's like, I need alone time. It's very stressful being a big brother.
Because he's 100 years old, because he's an old soul.
Right. And
I
so,
feel it.
And when we have talked about having like a 3rd kid, Abe's like, yes, let's do it. So Ben understands. So Ben understands how stressful it is to be a big brother. So my motherish moment this week has been that negotiation between both of them trying to get like alone time with me without the other. So I have Ben saying, Mom, please do parent pickup, and then we can go to ice cream, and then we can go to Target.
All that to say, we have so many years ahead of, you know what, motherhood, it like never ends, right? So our nanny, she has Miriam. I've talked about her many times over the years. She's like the queen of everything. Miriam had an issue with her youngest daughter, who's 36 or 38. This woman has, I think, 9 children overall with 2 adopted ones. It's a lot. But she was telling me some issue that she had with her daughter. And then she never gets frustrated. And she goes, you see, bigger kids, bigger problems. It never ends. It never ends. And I was like, okay.
And it's a delicate balance, let me tell you. They hear everything. Like I'll tell Ozzy, Abe passed the FAST exam, and Ben will be like, I also passed an exam. And I'm like, yeah, Papi. And how to tell me, yeah, but you're like in pre-K 4, Papa.
like it doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't end. But it gets interesting now seeing like their personality, seeing Abe go from my sweet 10-year-old to the other day, he was like, bruh. And I was like, I'm not your bruh.
Oh, Victoria already
this
says
is
bruh.
I know, Ford all day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, I'm not your bruh.
It's the time.
And then Ben, as annoying as Abe finds him, he adores the ground that Abe walks on. Like he'll tell me like, Mommy, I love you. I love Papi. And I'm like, and Abe's like, oh, I love him the most.
Oh, but that's really amazing.
Meanwhile, Abe's like, I want to be alone in my room.
He's like,
It's a lot of pressure being the most loved person.
My friend Ellie just announced her pregnancy. She's one of my school moms. Carlota is 4th A's during the same class.
It's Carlota's.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So she's 5 years old, and she's been asking for a sibling for so long. So at this age, to see them so happy that their wish came true, it was like,
oh, this puts you in your feels.
ovaries
I
exploding.
I know you.
So she shared the reaction, and she's like lifted her thing. She showed like this, the sonogram, and Carlota was like, oh my god, And then I guess somehow my Instagram like algorithm, it was all these older siblings reacting to the pregnancy announcement, and I was like, it's like, Jesus, answer my prayer.
Oh my gosh. You see, and the thing is, they're picky. It has to be a girl. And I'm here like, okay. But we want a sister, Mom. Oh, okay.
It's so cute. So yeah, it definitely tempts me to be like, oh, maybe I do want another
maybe
one.
So type A, type B moms. Clearly I'm like, nah.
Okay, so by the way, I want to first read the description.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
type B mom. So
this is why I love having a journalist.
We all know type A is, type A is pretty much, first of all, it has a little bit of a negative connotation.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
But you want to give a quick little type A summary before I get to the type B?
Oh, no, I thought you were going to do both.
No, okay, so I'm doing type B. Type B, by the way, sounds so much more cool, which is not fair, right? So type B is like, a type B mom is characterized by her laid back, flexible, and easygoing, easygoing personality, often preferring being spontaneous and a less rigid approach to parenting. She's not as focused on perfection or adhering to strict schedules, and is more likely to embrace, I love this, benign neglect and second best parenting. While she might not be as organized or punctual, she often prioritizes connection and creating enjoyable experiences for her
Why are you
children.
reading it with that tone?
Because I don't think this is fair. Like, I feel like it's making type B mom. Okay, and
I
then
think it's
type
interesting
A
you
mom,
say that because I feel the opposite. I feel
because
like
then everyone's gonna be, oh, I'm a type B mom. I'm chill. I'm laid back. No, you're
oh,
not.
we're gonna get
bitch.
into
You're
this.
not.
I
Like,
feel like the type B is the one that's like, oh my god, you're so disorganized. Like I want to have like I could never do that. Like I get that as the type B mom. Like oh, I could never do that. I need to have my whatever.
okay,
Let's go
so
with the type A.
mom. This I put like a
But
nice,
I need you to read it with the same sass.
but a nice description. A type A mom is often described as a mom who prioritizes order, preparation, and structure in her parenting. She tends to have a color-coded calendar and is well stocked with emergency snacks. They strive for efficiency and often have strong perfectionistic tendencies, aiming to gain control and lessen anxiety during the often chaotic process of raising children.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was
so
gonna
that
say,
was
I feel
that's
like
not bad.
the
Not
purpose
bad, not
behind
bad.
a type A mom is to prevent anxiety. And I think people in general, I've had this conversation a lot with my mom where she's like, for example, my mom will pack for a trip like a month before, 3 weeks before she starts planning, and she starts doing that. And she's like, because when I procrastinate, it gives me anxiety and I need to prevent, anxiety, because if not, it takes over. And so I can recognize how it's likely that a type A mom does a lot of these things, not because she's trying to like show to the world how great she is. I think it stems from prevention of chaos for her own well-being and for her own kind of order and structure that helps her kind of like, be her best.
Why do you think I described you as a type A mom when we first met?
Because I think, so here's where I was going to kind of go into this. So I think that I started off as a type A mom. I remember when I was pregnant, and I've talked about this a few times on the podcast. When I was pregnant, I was like, I'm going to be the most laid back mom and blah, blah, blah. Like, I had a vision of myself in pigtails. It was a whole thing.
Pigtails.
Yeah, I would probably wear like Free People.
Or like
kind
the
of
milkmaid
brand,
dress.
Like, yeah, just very chill.
Come with me as
and
I
like
make
whatever.
sourdough and milk the cow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I still want the chickens in my yard, but it's a negotiation with my mom. I'm still negotiating. But I think once once Victoria was born, I became very rigid, and I became very, like, it was anxiety driven, all of it. And I think that, together with a lot of other things that I have unpacked and discovered in the last couple of years, I think that I became something similar to a type A mom because I went in headfirst into motherhood in an effort to not face, maybe other things that I was feeling. So I really took on that character, and I really took on everything that to be the best that I could be. Granted, never in my life have I had a color-coded closet or a color-coded anything, because I am, and I'm going to put this out there, on the outside, looks organized. You open a drawer, you might get hit by something. Like, something might jump out at you. And I'm always, my mother would right now be like, thank God you said it, Karen, because if not, eres una mentirosa. Like, I can look put together on the outside. You could walk into my house and be like, so nice, whatever. Don't open a closet, things will fall.
What happened to me is, I think when I started the motherhood journey, when I was pregnant, I was going through so much change and transition that I needed order. Like, I literally hired people to help me organize my day. I realized the power of having structure and order and minimizing the chaos of what you can control, right? So what can you control? I can control my closet, my where the toys are gonna go. Like, all those things, I'm like, okay, if I could minimize the chaos in this area of my life, I could handle like everything else that was going on at that moment.
Yeah.
So for me, I think proactively, I wanted structure and order and schedules and sleep routines and sleep training and
it makes sense now.
feeding at this time and getting help and do. So for me, it was a game changer for me. So I think also it helped me enjoy the process so much more, because I had some type of order, but it wasn't order that consumed my life.
Right.
I was like a type A mom that was
with support.
with support. It was like a tool for me. It was like,
yeah, I think it's very different to be a type A mom with a village of resources to support you getting there versus a type A mom that's doing everything by herself. Like she's actually the one doing all those things. Those are two very different scenarios, I think, because they both lead to helping, again, reduce chaos and help you organize yourself from an internal, like mental perspective. But a mom that
And
is,
also, I feel like it sounds weird, but it sounds like counterintuitive to see a type A mom doesn't let go, right? It's like such a like helicopter, like micromanager, whatever. But I think it's the contrary. I think it's like a type A mom can delegate. Like I remember like one time I feel like, oh, like can you take a trip? I don't know. I think it was like with that Victoria, and you're like, no, I wouldn't. Like I had asked you like, I don't know, like something crazy. And I feel like now it could be like, hey, can we do a girls trip?
I think that's like the evolution of where we become as moms. I don't think again, this is being very general, but yo no pienso que we come in saying like, oh, I'm going to be the most, I think we want that balance at first. We're like, oh, I'm going to be organized and they need routine because we know the things that the kids need. And even us as women that we need to be healthy, we need some kind of structure. But that is different for every mom. That's different for every person.
Yeah, and I do believe you think you're gonna be a type of mom, and then you become,
and then you're
you don't
in
know how
it.
your body, your hormones,
Right?
Like,
You don't know your
what
hormones.
the situation at that moment is. Like,
Right.
Anything
And so,
I always say is expectations versus like what you
Reality.
expect
and reality.
Reality.
So I went in thinking, oh, I know how I am as a person. I was like, I want my kids to be happy, healthy, and like from birth, everything, like my birth plan out the door. I'm like, all right. So from when the birth plan went out, from when the birth plan went out the door,
I didn't even have one.
Right, and then of course being a working parent, like I would see other friends who are like, oh yeah, we have this schedule and this baby is in bed by 7:00, and I remember thinking, or even now, I'm like, if my kids are in bed by 7, I don't see my kids. I don't see them because I don't have the luxury of or the privilege and haven't had the life where I can leave and come home and at 5:00 be there with them. So I'm like, I had to pick a routine that worked for me, for my life and my husband and my little village, which I still have a great village. I have my mother, I have my brother, but it's still, I remember thinking the one time or twice that we've tried to do this 7:00, we're all miserable. Yeah. The kids are miserable because they're like, we've seen you for 20 seconds. I'm miserable because I'm here like, I don't care about having an hour to myself right now because I haven't seen my kids all day. All I've done is be on Zoom meetings. Yeah. And it's like, it didn't seem fair to any of us to try to force something. And I constantly sit with myself when I think about my choices as a mom, whether, especially as a type B mom, where I mentioned.
So you classify yourself as
100%.
Identified as a...
I identify as type B for baddie, baddie mom, baddie and doing it. But I remember just fighting it. I'm like, no, I'm not type B. My kids can't do what they want. Like they have structure, but it's a structure that makes sense. So when people are asking me like, oh, your kids just go to bed at 8, I'm like, yes, because that makes sense for us. They're not free.
Sorry, it was to bed at 9:30 at this point.
I don't. My kids are not in bed at 8, but that's el ejemplo.
Yeah.
Right. But in the beginning, I was almost ashamed. I'm here like, oh no, yeah, they have like a super strict schedule, and oh my god, the bento boxes.
I run a tight ship.
I run a tight ship. And then one time, my best friend's like, no, you don't. Like you do not run a tight ship. Like I have my emergency snacks, but they might be like a week-old string cheese that I forgot to take out of the lunchbox.
I've had a pack of seaweed in my car.
Right.
I gave it to Victoria the other day.
Right. But I think that the type A versus type B, like we all go in and then we become our own versions of what that is. Because I'm sure, like Pamela, you have like your things that you're like, this is non-negotiable. But as you become more comfortable as a mom and as you start trusting your kids more, you're just like, okay, I can let go a little bit. But I think in the beginning, we're all little type A. There's no way we go into motherhood just like...
Yes. I think what you're saying is very valid. As you become more comfortable as a mom and as you get to know your kid, those two things kind of simultaneously coming together at the same time, which can only happen with time, years, and you settling into whatever this new version of you is and learning to manage your existing life prior to becoming a mom, finding that balance. Like maybe not to say everybody turns into a type B mom, but maybe that's what helps some of those people lean into.
And you mentioned something, Karen, in terms of like the anxiety, because for me, I have anxiety and I have ADHD. Mm-hmm. So, and when I was
before becoming a mom,
before becoming a mom,
so I was born with this thing.
And then thank you. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's anxious all the time. Pero becoming a mom did exacerbate
of
it.
course,
I had postpartum, so I remember.
With both babies?
With just Abe, with my first one, because of my birth plan going out the window. With Ben was a 2019 baby, so in 4 months we went into lockdown, and that's a whole other episode that we can do on
we're all
his circle of life. But I remember trying to do schedules, and when I couldn't adhere, if one thing would go off the mark, I'd be like, I messed up. And so actually being too frigid was throwing me for a loop, because I'm like, I missed the window, or I didn't do the perfect lunch, and now and I would spiral, because I'm like, all of a sudden if I wasn't home by 5 o'clock and things weren't, and dinner wasn't there, and then I got a call, all of a sudden this perfect routine
Spiral.
I was like, I can't do it. And when I let go of that for my own mental health, and I said, it is okay to, and you said something about control. What I have control of right now is my schedule, my time. What I have in control, I'm home by 5:30. This is the time that's going to work for me. And it's okay. The kids are going to be okay. Same thing with right now, we're in baseball. Okay, they're going to go to baseball twice a week.
Oh my God, I don't know how people do it. Parents with the after school things
No,
and all this stuff. Gonna boil.
And well, when people talk about type A, they're like, oh, you have the kids all over this. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what they like. If they don't like basketball, okay, well, no, métate basketball, because I paid
we're just
for it.
exposing them right
Exposing
now.
them.
I also think it's like what you mentioned, Karen. I think it's a natural evolution for some moms to go from being a type A mom because of, learning to navigate the process. Like, it's something new for us. Like you said, I think naturally you tend to lean more towards type A because everything is so new to you. And then eventually, with time, with figuring out what does work for you, what does not work for you and your family and your child, then you're like, okay, then you kind of relax.
It can even
more.
go backwards.
I mean, even though I do feel like I was a type A, I also felt like very early on, I gave myself a lot of grace.
You did.
And also, I love to celebrate myself. I'll be like, I just killed it. I just killed breakfast
She's so
and
good at
drop
this.
off and
Yeah.
whatever. And it was like, I would ride the high moments so well and for so long. And it was like, it would give me like an injection of like, it's okay if I, I can't make whatever scrambled eggs right now. But eventually you learn. And then when I would do it, it was like, okay. So I think it's like giving ourselves those moments of grace and flexibility that you're like, okay, because otherwise you'll drive like for your own mental health.
I drove myself
It's
crazy.
just not
100%.
Yeah.
healthy for you or for your child. And so I think it was a good balance for me to be like, okay, what can I control? And again, going back to like, even like bedtime for me, like I hated waking up early when wake up early. I'm like, okay, I can't control when my son wakes up, right? But I can control when I go to sleep. So let me go to bed earlier. Like I force myself to go, even now, I can control when I go to bed, right? Because by the time he's asleep, I'm like, okay, I choose to either
And he still goes to
stay.
sleep at a decent time.
Yeah,
Like,
he's by like 8:10, 8:15, he's like in bed.
crazy. Like that's amazing.
But
That's
also
like,
like,
oh, you
yeah, I don't even know what I would do. I don't know what I would do for the rest of
right, so I'm
I would be like,
tempted.
what do I do
So
now?
I would just sit on the couch.
So when I come home, I'm like, okay, do I watch a series? Do I binge watch something? Like, do I read a book? So there's certain things that I choose to do, but then I'm like, okay, now it's time to go to bed. Like I force myself to rest so I could, be well
anticipate
rested
his
the
early
next
wake
day.
up.
Yeah. And it's been about finding a balance of what works, what doesn't work, and also giving yourself
You have
grace.
multiple children?
I have one.
One.
One little boy. He's 5.
And as we're talking,
But
I feel
he
like
counts for like I think every mom says
well,
that,
I,
right?
I asked because for Abe was a very flexible kid. Like we would take him everywhere. Again, I think that he was just our first kid, so we had more time. With Ben, he does rely on routine, like a routine that is very like he wishes. I'm sure if he would understand this episode, he'd be like, "Mommy, can you please be type A?" Because he craves routine. His routine is after school we have to go home. If we deviate from that routine, but why? Where are we going? And so I've had to force almost type A for him because I'm like, I've understood that he craves knowing that structure of like.
Why do you think that he needs that?
A lot of kids need that. They say young kids like schedule and structure.
Even as adults, we need it.
And
We
it,
feel
it
good
like
when we have
lessens
it.
your anxiety too.
Correct. I don't know if it's because, again, maybe he was so used to being home all the time, whereas Abe was used to being out and about with us, and we would go out to all
Right.
these events with him.
These
Because
pandemic babies.
Yeah, but Ben was very much like, why are we not home right now? It's very, or if we're out for a little bit, he's just very much like, okay, like, se acabó.
Yeah.
Whereas
Hay
Abe,
comida en la casa.
yeah, like where Abe is like hasta las 15, like he'll be partying. And so I've had to tell myself, and I've had to tell my husband, the same way that I sometimes crave routine, that I'm like, I don't need to have the same routine every day, but I need to know I'm going to go to Pilates or I'm going to go to Zumba. Ben is like that. Ben likes to know that at the end of the day, there's something he can rely on. And that thing is I get to go home, do my Waterford, read with mom. It's like, and same thing at night.
Yeah.
By the way, the other day I bought, my friend Ellie recommended this, is like a whatever mason jar, and you put coins. Every time they behave good, they get a coin. Then once the coin is filled, they get an award, like a reward. So I go, Ford, it's full. Like, what reward do you want? He's like, I want to plan the day. Like, let's make
Like
a
a yes
plan.
day
Like
or
a yes
whatever.
day.
Oh, I love that.
Which is so cute. And he like, okay, I want to wake up. I want to have waffles. I want to go out to have breakfast. Then I want to go to the park. Then I want to go to the Shark Museum.
Yeah.
Then I want to have ice cream. And it was such a good, well-structured. I was like so proud. I'm like, that's my boy. But the fact that his wish was having control of what we were going to do was so empowering for him.
It gives him
right?
autonomy.
It gives him, yeah, and it gives him some purpose and some maturity. And we stuck to the plan. And you know, I kind of like that he chose that as his
That's
reward.
a win for you. You were just saying celebrating your wins. That's such a win.
Oh, you're right.
For you, that it's like he's like, no, this is what I want. And not only that, like, but what he chose to do. He chose time. He didn't choose like, oh, I want you to go buy me a toy, which is fine. Like Ben would probably put on Mother's Day.
He threw in there.
Yeah,
Five
like
Below in there. Yes.
My last line on my
Yes.
Mother's Day card from Ben was, I love my mom more than I love toys. I'm like, all right, it did it. But I think that speaks a lot to you and what you've put in for him, because he chose quality time, waffles, the museum, like things that are gonna, that he's seen you do with him, that now he's like, if I have to spend a whole day with you.
By the way, he
this is
started
what
with
we
like,
do.
you don't go to trabajo that day.
Yeah. So I'm listening to both of you, and I'm thinking about, you know, we're talking about ourselves as in the role of mothers, right? Type A or type B mothers. But what about as like individuals, right? Because one of the things that I constantly have to work on is, I think I am kind of type A, not in every area, obviously, but I think I'm type A. One of the triggers, let's say, I have is like timing and knowing what is coming, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm really big on, like, if you say that we're gonna meet up at 3, like, if I'm not hearing from you by 3:15, I'm pissed. And like, I've had to learn, and it's a constant work in progress for me to like be like, hey Karen, my internal voice, like, not everybody's like that. Loosen up your expectations a little bit and don't be upset. Like my default is I'm upset. Like, why are you not saying what you said you were going to do? You know, and
I'm laughing for a reason. I'm gonna
so
finish.
so I think that like I these children that we are raising in these type B or type A kind of styles are going to be adults that one day are going to also have all of these things that they're trying to figure out and manage on a daily basis. I'm sure there's people who are like, I wish I could be more structured as an adult. I wish I could be more like this. And then there's the other ones that are like, I wish I could be more flexible and dynamic, and I'm not. And as much as I pretend that I'm like, because then there's like the layer of like the people pleaser in me where I'm like, oh, it's okay, and inside it's like a dumpster fire, and I'm like, ah! But I'm like, it's fine.
It's not okay. How could you be so dumb?
And I don't know, and since I don't vocalize like what I feel, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna, just don't turn this into resentment. Like there's so much.
I do think they mirror us eventually, and I think that's what I was getting to with Ford. Like he mirrored what he sees you express as like love and care for him, and I feel like my kids, I say sorry a lot, people pleaser, and I've noticed that lately both kids, if like they spill over a glass of milk, I'm like, hey, sorry, and I had to tell them like, guys, you don't say sorry cuando algo me pasa, you get hurt. You know, I was like, Abe, go get the raincoat. You forgot the, sorry. And I was like,
Wow.
That, and I'm here like, but why they don't get, you know, punished when something happens? It's because they've watched me over apologize on the phone or what have you. I was laughing at you, Karen, because you were talking about hating being late. And last summer, she talked about us going to Missy Elliott together.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so upset still. You see, it just brought it all back.
I said, do you want to come to Missy Elliott? I got these tickets.
Randomly
Very
invited
random,
me.
but we always bond over like liking to dance and old school music. That's just, you know, we always dance. And I said, look, I got these tickets. Do you want to go? So I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I'm like, hey, where are you? She's like, I'm here. Where are you? And I'm like, I'm in front of the arena. And I'm like, where are you? And she's
Went
like,
to the wrong arena.
she was at the Kaseya Center.
And this was in Sunrise,
In the
like 40
Amarin.
minutes, 50 minutes away. When I tell you that entire ride, I had to self-soothe like a baby learning to
And
sleep.
mind you,
I was like,
but since I, in that moment, if I was her, I would be her. But since I'm on the other side, I'm like, Mama, it's okay. It's Missy Elliott. The tickets were free. Like, yeah. I go, I don't even think she's opening. Like, yeah. But if I was on,
I think I almost missed Sierra.
But if I was on the other end, I'd be like, I'm so done. I would have been like, even
the whole Uber ride was 50 minutes.
Wow.
And I spent 50 minutes being like, how could you? And then since I had already started therapy, I was like, okay, no. A ver. pelea. Okay. It's okay, Karen. Learn to be flexible. Learn to be dynamic. Learn to go with the flow. I'm like, but you're so rigid. And how could you mess this up? How could you not see that it was like Broward? You're from Broward.
And how don't you know? And then I even told her, like, because I had offered to pick her up, and she's like, no, it's okay. And I'm here, like, you really don't want me to pick you up on the way to Broward? Oh, okay, está bien. You know, she doesn't want to ride with
But
me.
like she didn't say that, and so I'm like that because I was like, oh, at the time I was in Midtown, so I was like, I literally live like 10 minutes away, like. It's
and I was like,
fine.
you're not 10 minutes away from Sunrise. I went, whatever. Maybe I'm really bad at math, so I just.
She said that, and I was like, it's not math, it's distances.
It's still numbers. I was like, okay, bueno, maybe I'm wrong, but it's so funny to hear you say that. But going back to like how we if you were on the other end, you might be like, oh my God, this girl, but you would have waited for me and you would have had grace for me. But you notice how you didn't have grace for yourself.
Story of my life.
Right. Well, but I'm the same way. Yeah. I would miss classes in college if I was late. I'm like, I'm going to walk in 10 minutes late. Well, no, I guess I'm not going to Psych 101 today. I'm going to Chick-fil-A instead. Because I hated walking in late, but I realized that I can pass that on to the kids. So now it's like I try to get the kids, like when I notice the sorry, telling them like, hey, don't do that. Like you don't have to. Wow, be sorry that just for like everything.
I mean, I've been pretty conscious of that, but I feel like those reminders of like they're really mimicking and copying and watching
how we cope, how we love, how we interact.
I saw this post as one of those cheesy posts that was like, it's just as important. The most important thing is how your children, how they watch how you're loved and how you love.
Yeah.
But even how you're loved, how people treat you, like who you chose to be around and how they're going to treat you in front of your children. I know sometimes like, you know, what you tolerate, what you don't tolerate, what you're okay with, like all those things they're picking up.
Right. Well, when Karen said about Abe being like the nicest kid, when I did take your child to work day, and so this is the second year I do this where I literally sit him and we do a Zoom with different people in the industry. So I talked with someone from the Today Show. We went to a coffee shop. He met a coffee shop owner. And the number one thing was he's such a well-behaved kid. And I'm sometimes like, I don't know if that's a reflection of me or Ozzy, because we're both so different personalities. But then you meet Ben, and Ben is kind, but he's algarete. Like he's just a whole different like sense of love, sense of kind. And I try to think, what did we do different with him?
Yeah, it's not.
And I think about my siblings. Like I'm nothing like my older sister or my.
But the other day, someone, just to close it off because we're running out of time. The other day, someone who has multiple children was saying, you know, I always used to be so surprised about how different my children could be. Right, same parent, same DNA, same environment, same resources, and then I realized I was different with every single child.
Yeah,
like I was a different mom. I was like more prepared. I was more present. I had a different job during the season. So my children, in a way, you know, obviously throwing genetics in there and certain other, you know, circumstances. But at the end, it was a reflection how different the mom was during that season of that child. Not good?
It made me think, was I more type A with Abe or with Ben? And who got the more relaxed version of me?
So there you have it.
Wow.
Type A, type B. What are you?
Whatever.
Don't matter.
Some days you'll be A, some days you'll be B. A little mix.
It's
like fine.
8.5.
A point B.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Meesh, for joining us for this fun conversation.
This is amazing.
And as always, this was the most fun and the most therapeutic, and I love it.
Yeah. So subscribe and share and comment, and we love you. Thank you.
Thank you.